You are listening to GigWorker's news and commentary on the Driving Forward podcast, a part of the AIW World Network.
Today's host, AIW founder Edward Escobar. News and commentary include the Disrupted film, San Francisco capping delivery app restaurant fees, and essential workers, truckers who need your support.
The documentary that we've been collaborating with producers over the last couple of years, The Disrupted, and had the opportunity to speak with Cheryl Long, who was a member of our strategic team and had participated in some of our drivers' actions 2 years ago. And so that was captured as well by their production team. They sat in on one of our meetings, and I believe they had also captured some of that because they're interested in finding out about the lives of workers, the middle class, the blue collar that have felt the disruption by technology and consolidation of the workforce in many ways that is really closing down on tightening the noose, I guess you'd say, around the neck of the American worker.
Great grandpa bought this farm in 1904. Come on! What you see around us is 5 generations of history.
What brings me here is corporate greed. They shut the plant down that I had 12 years in. We're gonna show them how we rebuild stronger.
This is Cheryl with Uber. Are you at the Blue Terminal? My career was in the mortgage industry. When the market fell, that's when I fell into this. I just gave 14 hours of my life today for what? $70? What is my time worth?
Man, don't get like this on me. It's like you don't believe in me.
This is what we're living in.
Right.
We got bills.
USDA is projecting 50% decline in income for farmers.
I can sell half the farmland and be out of debt, but by God, it's mine and I don't want to give it up.
I'm a fighter. I don't walk away. You know there's a protest tomorrow, right?
Get out there and start doing something.
Everything that I did was a dead end. I just want to feel what it's like to love what you do.
Yeah, when you got kids to take care of, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I just don't want the land to be in somebody else's name, because once it's gone, it's never coming back.
I'm always trying to make what I need to survive. And I'm not asking for more, just what I need.
So this documents this whole process going on. As you know, the tech titans of Silicon Valley, they pride themselves in being disruptors, and our pushback and answer to that is we are looking to disrupt the disruptors, give them a taste of their own medicine to see how they like it. But basically, it's pushing for the rights of workers and preserving the middle class as long as possible, so that we can move in the direction of trying to succeed and not just barely survive. And hopefully, we're looking at having another session with them soon where we can get further in depth on this documentary. So on our Drivers Unite Facebook group, you have an opportunity to take a look at it and share it.
You are listening to Driving Forward, an international podcast brought to you by the AIW.
The problem that is being experienced in San Francisco, and actually around the country, and I would assume around the world, is delivery services that are transporting goods and products and groceries and also food to people in their homes that are sheltering in place. San Francisco Mayor caps Uber, Postmates, DoorDash delivery commissions. And that's from the San Francisco Chronicle.com. What's happened there is there's a severe amount of price gouging that's occurring where you have these delivery services that are charging 30 to 40% of the gross profits to the restaurant owners, which heavily cuts into their ability to survive. So they're barely making it, especially this time. So they're highly dependent on delivery, and because they're not able to have sit downs in their brick and mortar locations. So as the article reads, as struggling San Francisco restaurants pin their hopes of staying open on delivery and takeout orders, city officials have stepped in to lower the commissions charged by the makers of apps like Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash, Caviar, and Postmates. Now, typically, these companies charge commissions that range, they say, from 10 to 30% of an order, but we've heard it's also 30 to 40% more so than the lower amounts, which really kills these restaurants. On Friday, Mayor London Breed announced a temporary cap of 15% on commissions. The cap will remain in effect for the duration of the local state of emergency or until restaurants are able to open again for dine-in service. San Francisco is the first city in California to take such an action on behalf of restaurants. And you have supervisors, Aaron Peskin and Ashi Safai, who said they initiated talks about the commission caps, and they joined the mayor, London Breed, in making the announcement. Some local chefs and restaurateurs see the fast-track order, which comes a week after the Chronicle reported on the issue of Bay Area restaurants struggling with onerous delivery fees, as a financial lifeline for an industry in crisis. While restaurants breathe a sigh of relief, local delivery companies say the order could trigger an increase in delivery order costs and lower pay for delivery drivers. So, I mean, you could see here that the delivery companies will try to squeeze the actual deliverers who are doing the bulk of the work. I mean, they're just setting up the order using their algorithms, but the deliverer is actually doing the lion's share of the work, besides the owner of the restaurant preparing the food and providing the actual resources there. So it's interesting now, in commenting on this specific article, how quickly they mobilized to put a cap on the amount of commissions that these folks were charging. And I'm talking about the Uber Eats and DoorDash, Postmates. So basically, these app platforms, they're putting a cap on their commission. Now, how long have we delivery folks and gig workers, drivers, rideshare, been asking the major cities to do this? And it's interesting how they're quick to do it for the restaurant industry, and we're not. That's great. That's helpful to the restaurant owners, and they are taxpayers, and they're the middle class. So, especially right now, they have more skin in the game. They're sticking their necks out here a lot more with this COVID-19 crisis than delivery drivers and rideshare drivers. However, we have to look at that. The essential workers are the drivers, are the gig delivery drivers and transporters, and they also need to have a cap on the amount of commission that is being charged to them and taken out of their proceeds, because as we all know, that amount has been squeezed down into an amount that reduces down to not being sustainable. Now, there are benefits right now that are being afforded delivery drivers, whereas some recipients of delivery services are starting to really understand that their delivery folks are putting themselves in harm's way, and so they are giving them better tips than normal, because the normal tips they give and in many respects are just atrocious, and it's not even on par where it should be, because delivery folks, they do fulfill a certain essential part, and they're part of the essential workers. There's some folks that besides sheltering in place, they're the elderly, infirm, they're disabled, and they can't get around because of the exposure to COVID. And even if COVID wasn't happening, they would also have to find a way to get food and groceries and so on and so forth to their homes. So they don't have the support service, and delivery drivers are the ones, they're lifelines. So essential workers, definitely, that's what they are. And for that, they should be compensated some hazard pay as well, an increase, or rather a decrease in the commission that's taken from the delivery proceeds. So hopefully we will see that from the COVID-19 crises, that these municipalities, these governmental entities can actually step up and provide those types of caps to limit the type of financial damage that these app-based companies are causing to the workers. The app-based services should be facilitators and not complicators, but unfortunately that's what it's turned into, is a complication of the whole process. And we need to take that power back for the gig workers, for the delivery folks, for rideshare drivers. Thanks for joining us today on the Driving Forward podcast. We invite you to participate and reach out to us on Facebook and get in touch with us to see how you too can be a part of the solution and not the problem. Truck drivers are the lifeblood of this country, especially during this time of crises. They continue to roll, and they are also being squeezed in the same way, where like rideshare drivers, their mileages that they're relying on that to earn a living, because it's based on miles, and it's entirely ridiculous, because the loads that they're transporting is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and many times, and sometimes could be millions. You never know depending on what they're transporting. And they're the lifeblood, they're the backbone of America. Without them, within a matter of days, and days alone, that you would see shelves start to go bare across this country. So it is important that as essential workers, that they also are taken care of. Now, the government had come in and given them extended work hours, but to work more and more and still make less and less is not fair, just, or equitable. So we all have that same common challenge in the trenches as workers, as drivers, as human beings, that it should be made to be sustainable, because Americans want to succeed, not just survive. So another issue too that we're all facing is, as you'll see with COVID crises, COVID-19 crises, that they're ushering in a new phase of technology. You've heard discussions about 5G. Well, 5G service is the next wave, and it's going to be the paradigm shift and door opener for the technologies of the AI, the automation, self-driving, digital currency, and all of these, that basically people will be given the choice where if you want to survive a situation, they'll say, either accept these new technologies, or you will be forced to have exposure to COVID-19, and so basically take the technology, or expose yourself to possible virus contamination and die. So obviously, folks who have resisted in the past the AI automation, self-driving technology, or digital currency would be much more receptive to accepting the use of that. So we encourage folks to visit the Drivers Unite Facebook group, and there's a petition there, change.org, where truckers are stepping up for America, and now it's time for America to step up for truckers. They are the backbone of America, and we need to support all drivers, all workers, all human beings that are definitely there in the trenches as essential workers. Truckers are experiencing the same issues that many of the gig workers across America and around the world are facing, where you have these corporations that are basically classifying the workers, fraudulent exploitation of the workforce, where they're calling workers independent contractors in name only, but they're treating them worse part-time minimum wage employees. Actually, those folks have more rights than the gig workers, because they have access to regulatory agencies that'll help defend their rights. And then also to lawyers and so on and so forth, who clearly know how to approach this when it comes to establishing some type of legal case and fight to protect the worker. So we're all in this together, all the drivers, the deliverers, the gig workers, the truckers, taxi drivers, black car, limo, limousine, even other folks that are being damaged as well, that go beyond that, bringing in the whole impact of rollout of the AI tech disruption. So you're talking about severe displacement, as I mentioned, millions of workers, not just here, but around the world, and that goes into the billions. And automation is a concern for everyone. It's not just gig workers, independent contractors. If you go into a McDonald's, you'll see that the orders that are being placed, everyone is being pushed to put their orders in from these electronic order taking boards. So you could just see that down the road, the automation will displace many workers, and that's undermining full-time employment. So we have to really look at how this impacts all workers across all classes of work and types of work sectors and different industries, because it's essential that work be provided for people, because work provides more than just a paycheck. It provides a sense of dignity, a sense of purpose, and people, they thrive when they're given that type of stimuli in their lives. And that's really a part of living, is having the opportunity to exercise your right to work. Thank you for listening to our Driving Forward podcast today, where we're touching on the subjects that are covered in the Drivers Unite Facebook group. And we invite you over to Drivers Unite Facebook group and sign up with us. Join up and find out what we're talking about there. We cover a lot of national and international news, as well as local, regional. It's very informative, and here you get to see really all the topics that we are focused on. We are fighting for real independence for independent contractors, but beyond that, we're also looking at the future of work. We need to shape the future of work together, and we need to do that by really addressing the issues of AI, automation, self-driving technology. These are serious disruptors that are on the horizon. They're happening now, but they're going to be further rolled out. And you're talking about severe disruption of the workforce, not just here in the US, but around the world. And we invite you to participate and reach out to us. You can direct message us as well on Facebook, and get in touch with us to see how you too can be a part of the solution and not the problem. Si se puede, yes, we can. So thanks for joining us today on the Driving Forward podcast. See you next time.